What's up, sassy gamers, and welcome to another episode of Got Our Attention Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 4, here with Brian, Bruno, and Kelly. What's up, y'all?
Hello.
What up?
Did you
It's been like a whole day
date
since I've seen you guys.
and the episode right?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't think he said the date at
Oh,
all.
okay.
But
I don't say the
he
date.
got this. He got the season episode right. So I was
That's
like,
right.
I don't say that. I don't say the date anymore because
That's right.
you know
That's right.
Yeah.
You know.
we're past that. We're over that.
Dates are
we're
fluid.
Just gonna say,
Yeah,
Dates
they
are
really are.
fluid.
They really are.
time
You
is
can
subjective.
yeah,
Yeah.
You can
Yes.
just guess when this released and when we recorded it.
We're done
An
with
hour before
structured
it's released.
dates, okay? Like
Could be
that's
3
such
weeks
an
ago.
archaic system. That's what binds us to the 40-hour work week. We're just throwing that out.
Right.
Yeah,
That
And
is
throw
we're
it
going
out.
to start using Swatch time. So
Swatch time. Yes. Oh shoot. Are we all
I'm
gonna
not
get
sure if
Swatch
I understand
watches?
what that is, but okay.
So this was a really interesting idea that Swatch had come up with. I'm pretty sure it was Swatch. They didn't like the idea of time zones. So
I mean,
I kind of don't
Yeah.
either.
Swatch
Just
Internet
go through that.
Time is what it. So Swatch Internet Time is what it's called. And so if there
So-
was, if there was like, they divided the day up to 1,000 beats. So if this was beat 850, it was beat 850 no matter where you were in the world. So 850 was, so if you said meet at beat 850, everybody would meet at the same time because it doesn't matter about time zones. Beat
Hey.
850 is the same time every day.
that's
Each
quite-
beat
I
was
can
equivalent
get
to
behind
1
this.
minute and 26.4 seconds.
That
That's a little uneven for me.
That
I
has-
But I guess if everybody had a swatch, then you would know what that is because it would be tracked on there.
Although
I could, the internet tell you.
and also like I guess if you've converted to beats period like minute in 20.4 seconds or whatever you said, Brian,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter anymore.
Wouldn't matter.
That's wild.
I could get behind this. And you know what I really gets my goat, and I know you all know this.
You have goats?
that's pretty wild. How many
Chickens
goats do you
too.
have?
I've got a whole bunch of when people
Ice cream
confuse
and goat yoga.
Yes. When
Sorry.
people misuse or misstate the current time zone, so we're living
Oh.
on the east coast of the U.S.
Oh, you
right
mean
now,
the penny saver?
Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
You mean savings?
No, no,
I believe-
No,
I
I
believe-
don't actually. No,
I believe we're Eastern
I fucking don't.
Daylight Time right now. It's EDT, isn't it?
It's Eastern Daylight Saving.
I'm just saying you have a
time.
savings account, not a saving account.
Nope.
Yeah, true that.
I'm
And
seeing what I can
Eastern
do to
Standard
to
Time.
figure out if I can get Kelly to come here and try and murder me.
Yeah, no, it's gonna happen, dude.
I mean,
if
that
wasn't
can happen
drinking,
anyway. I
that-
don't think you
yeah.
need
Are you gonna murder me at like 10 p.m. daylight savings time?
No,
Or
at 920 beats.
All,
That's
all
what
you have
I'm
to
gonna
do is
it.
tell her it's a Canadian thing, and she'll believe you.
Now, see, I would always cheat and I would just say 3 p.m. Eastern U.S.
Eastern. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and that's what you should do. If
I
you are
usually
not
just say
confident,
ET.
yeah, I mean that works too.
take a guess.
That's a nice cheat. But no, it makes me so effing crazy. Like at work today, somebody sent me something. I was like, "Oh, you're gonna meet me at 10:30 EST? Oh, okay." It was just
You say you show up an hour early, and you're like, "What's up?"
I'm like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. You said your Zoom session was supposed to start then, but it's not.
Yeah.
No, pass. I'm good.
So today we're going to talk about something that was quite interesting of a news story that we saw.
no,
come
Mike, we're only
across.
talking about time zones
Wait.
with the program
Swatch
I
Internet
and
totally-
beats.
Time.
This is an entire podcast episode dedicated to the passage of time, which is why
This
we're
is
about to
passage
talk
of
about
time.
old stuff. Yeah.
Yes. That's
And
exactly
something
what
that
it
makes
is.
the time pass faster.
Yes.
We need like the little old wavy thing from like the old things like I Dream of Jeannie now, and it's like, ooh, and we're gonna go into the past. Continue, Mike. You were talking before I
We are
interrupted
gonna
you.
go into the
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about.
Actually, he was a guy. He was called the Caffeine Guy or something like that, and he was on E3
Right,
once. And he was like, look it up, E3
Mr.
Caffeine
Caffeine,
Guy.
yes,
Mr.
that's the whole
Caffeine.
thing.
It was.
Mike's like internal.
Can I talk
horrible.
So, interestingly enough, we are going to talk about the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or what most of us know as E3. Because instead, there was some interesting news that came up with E3 recently, which we'll get to. But I kind of want to talk about E3 in the sense of kind of where it came from, why it is, and kind of, if you're not familiar with E3 as a whole of now, we'll talk about that and so forth, so on. But so back before, in the early days, back in the 1990s, I know, right? So like way back in the time machine here. Well, I don't know what beat that is of what year of our savior or whatever, but yeah, there.
Was it summer
Swatch.
or winter? 'Cause
So the thing is, back then, video games are still pretty new, right? They had different platforms, different companies like Nintendo and Sega and things making consoles and such, and even Atari and all this fun stuff. But there wasn't really a dedicated space for them to kind of showcase what they did. So what they ended up doing was they attached themselves to the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, which was kind of all things consumer electronics. So I mean, you could have like a toaster or car stereo or
refrigerators,
porn, apparently, things like that.
TVs. Well,
Apparently,
I mean,
that's what they
understanding-
say.
Well, my understanding wasn't that the porn was part of CES, that the porn had their own show. Like
Consumer
I
electronics.
forgot the name of it, but it was held in the same area in the same convention halls.
And what
Gotcha.
you played the porn on? Are we gonna get
whatever.
like
So
flagged for
here's the
talking-
thing.
No, we're
So
good. We're all set.
again, this is CES, so it's not dedicated to video games. It's dedicated to anything consumer electronics. So a lot of times, and these are statements that were said by different companies and things, that there just wasn't any dedicated space, and usually at this location would be in the parking lot. There'd be tents out back, and that's where the video game developers and companies where they'd be at. Like that would be their booths. So everybody's inside having a nice air conditioner, looking at this toaster. But if you want to look at video games, you need to go outside and whatever. And this is like.
And the air conditioning is important too, because typically CES is in Vegas.
Right.
Oh, the Vegas.
So yeah, not a lot of people are probably hanging out at the tents out back unless you had to be. So actually, here's a quote. So this is from Tom. I'm going to murder his last name. Kalinske, I think it is. He was the former Sega of America CEO, and he said, and this is an article. He actually did an interview with the Washington Post, and he said, we were one of the many video game displayers back there, ourselves and Nintendo, and of course a lot of other third-party publishers. And he says, right over the Sega display, there was a leak at the top of my tent, and so the water was dripping down on my new Genesis 16-bit machines. And I basically said to everyone, okay, that's it. We're never coming back here again, and we're going to have our own show. And so it was just like, this is their experience, right? This is like Sega. The CEO of Sega is like back here at this tent.
Done.
And so during this time, another attendee who was at the show, his name's Pat Farrell. He was actually the president of Infotainment World, which you probably know is the Gamer Pro magazine, they actually created Game Pro magazine. And he said at the time, the whole industry was just exploding. And the fact that we were being treated like second-class citizens, we were just like, now we're growing in a way where we need to be treated the same as television or, a boombox. So we quietly started pitching the vice presidents of marketing, of sales, the guys that we knew in the industry to say, hey, look, what if we gave you an alternative? So again, direct quotes from these guys back when the Washington Post interviewed them. But the point was, there wasn't a dedicated space.
Not only was there not a dedicated space, but there was also a couple other things going on in the industry, along with Congress and a couple other things, like Mortal Kombat had fatalities. Night Trap was like this, which was one of the earlier FMV ones, which was like, oh, it's scandalous about like these guys. And by the way, it was like a live action Scooby-Doo. It was hilarious.
It's pretty bad. You should watch the footage on that show.
Yeah.
But it's like these guys were stalking these like schoolgirls that were like all over the slumber party. And there's like these crazy, almost Home Alone-esque type traps that you would activate with this FMV. And this stuff was going in front of Congress. late in 1993 or so, and the video game industry was under a lot of scrutiny at that as well. One of the things that came about was a bunch of the publishers and everybody basically coming together, and an entity was created called the Interactive Digital Software Association, IDSA, to represent these companies in Washington, D.C. And later got renamed to the Internet Software Association, the ESA.
Oh.
Well, eventually it was actually Entertainment Software Association, ESA.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Internet.
Oh, yes, Entertainment Software Association. ESA.
So,
Wow.
So,
well, it was a long time ago. It's fine. I remember it clear as day back when I was 2 years old.
yeah. So ESA actually created a new event called E3. Or in this case, like I said, Electronic Entertainment Expo. So they created this space for all of the initially when it was first created to have industry only people be able to come out. So I mean, journalists or video game companies, publishers, whoever, to be able to come out and be able to showcase, buyers, like your stores and things like that, to come out to be able to showcase
Walmart,
all of these
Kmart,
things,
Target.
and be able to sell these new devices that are going to be coming out, these new consoles or whatever they were doing. So that was kind of the beginning of why E3 was created, was to give themselves a space so that they can basically market and kind of showcase the next gen of whatever it was back then.
Yeah. Quite literally a trade show.
Yeah, very much.
Because, I mean, we're talking about 95, 96. The internet was not even close to what we have now.
Right.
Was not, so the only way that Walmart could figure out how much shelving area they needed to put aside for selling games and consoles and stuff like that was they have to send a representative to go and look at this stuff and make decisions 6 months, a year ahead of time of what they're going to buy and how many units and everything.
Yeah. I was actually telling Kelly earlier, there was at the first 1995 E3, it was Sega gets up and it has their big showcase, and it's probably a 30-minute showcase of their next thing that's coming out, which is the Sega Dreamcast, which didn't even release till I think 2 years later, like 97. But the idea was they go up there and and this is footage you can look up online. I would totally suggest you do this, but they have, the guy goes up there, explains the whole thing, and he says it's going to be $399, and it's going to be, and so let me stop there. This is 1995. He said the device was going to be $399. So we're talking nowadays prices that of consoles that were ooh, $399. Xbox, ooh, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So imagine 1995. That's insane.
The Series X was $299 last year and a half ago.
Yeah. So they he goes up there, does this whole spill, and goes through the whole thing, and then Sony's next, and Sony had whole showcase of stuff that we're going to talk about. But after this guy has been up there for 30 minutes and just did all the stuff, he walks up, he opens his notebook, and he just says $299 and closes his little binder and then walks off the stage. And then people started cheering because they knew that obviously Sony had something coming out, but he didn't even have to do anything. The pitch was already there. All he had to do was say how the price was going to be. It was perfect. So
do you think he said anything to anybody before he did that too? Do you think he was like,
I mean, I want to believe no, just because it was just he probably had all this stuff written out, this whole thing to try to sell somebody. And he's like, I don't even have to do that now. Being probably a good salesman, he was like, all I have to do is say the price and people are going to know. It's, but that's just one of the many weird and fun things that have happened at E3. And I'm not going to get into all the details on that, but over the years, there has been a lot of different things. But basically, fast forward to the 2000s. And now E3 has become one of the largest expos for any company that wants to showcase their new games or consoles, so forth and so on. And as it grew larger, companies started bringing in actors and famous, comedians, like we were saying earlier, Mr. Caffeine, and all these things. But the problem was
sports stars.
Yeah, or
the booths were insane, and they would throw swag at people pretty much,
like Drake for FIFA. Not sure why. Anyway, but the point is they brought these different personalities. We had The Rock and we had all these different people coming in. Some were good, some were not great. Some of the the showcases were not that great. You can look up E3 horror story videos. Like there was, there's just some terrible presentations they've had in the past, and that's fine because it's kind of made what E3 was today, at least what we knew.
I mean, they had Keanu Reeves, so that was,
right, and that's the most recent, the last actual E3,
wrong.
which
they also had Snoop Dogg. That was pretty dope.
What they said, he actually didn't present anything. He just played a game, and all he played, he had a blunt in his mouth, and he just played the game the whole time until he did.
That's all he needs to do, man. That's his
exactly.
way of
That's all he got
advertising
paid for. Hey,
but yeah, it was crazy to see this build over the years, and so one of the things, as Brian mentioned earlier, is the internet, right? So when 1995 happened, this internet was not like a most common household thing. Like you don't just find, you don't just Google things and, maybe Ask Jeeves or something at that point. But
my God,
the point is it wasn't ready.
Remember that?
Yeah, it wasn't readily available for everyone. So if you wanted to find out this information, you'd either have to attend, which at this time was usually, there's only been a couple times where they've actually let other people in until recently. But you'd either have to attend or you'd have to wait till a journalist would publicize some kind of magazine that said, like, here's what's coming, and you'd pick up the magazine, you have to read it and pay like $20 for the magazine, and there's cheat codes in the back or whatever. But it would talk about what was coming. But once that shifted in the 2000s and we started getting, household computers everywhere and people were starting to use the internet, we started seeing different things happen, like because of the rise of technology, right? So we started seeing that people weren't really wanting to spend the money, companies, people, just to fly out to a showcase. I mean, you're talking, these were always, from the beginning, these were started in Los Angeles. Like that's where they started the E3. And it's only been out of Los Angeles twice. One was to Atlanta, Georgia, because that made sense. Yep. And then the second one was Santa Monica, which was down the street. Both those locations failed. Santa Monica, they didn't like because the layout wasn't great. Atlanta, Georgia didn't make sense because the initial reason they started in Los Angeles was because they knew that you had all these developers and consumers from Japan. Like they were coming, they were having to fly in. So it's easy for them to fly into Los Angeles, do what they need to do, and head out. Atlanta,
even though Atlanta does have the world's busiest airport.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to cross the whole U.S. to get here too. So that was just a whole other thing.
I mean, ESA's in Washington, D.C., and the publishers are all worldwide. I mean, this yeah.
So
I think one of the interesting things is that it was in phases as well, because with the internet coming in, you had magazine publishers were getting that's where a lot of the advertising was. So they would get the behind closed doors look at something that isn't coming out for 6 months so that they could do the advertising ahead of time and have the magazine covers and show the early screenshots. But then as the internet got a little bit more powerful and you had internet review sites and stuff like that, they started coming to E3, and that became less of a thing with the magazines. And so you had those, the literally the IGN and the GameSpot, some of the early ones. So they were covering E3 and they were providing the information. And then you see the big transition recently, which you will probably get a little bit more detail into, I'm sure, which is now the publishers just go directly to us. So huge changes.
So speaking of that, that's kind of where I was going is the fact that the rise of the internet kind of took place. Again, nobody has to spend money to fly out to Los Angeles. You don't have to prepare this terrible performance that's going to just look like really bad on the internet, 20 years later, as we look back at the footage now. So one of the first ones that kind of backed out of this event was Nintendo. And you're probably familiar with Nintendo Direct, because that's what they decided to do is they stopped attending in 2013, moving to digital pre-aired videos, which they know as Nintendo Direct. And that way it was able to control, obviously, the media that they were going to put out, be able to, do everything they want, polish it before they released any announcement. And they had total control over it. So if it didn't work out, they could redo it and, keep going from there. Plus, they could release it on their timeline. It wasn't just E3 date. It was anytime we want to do a Nintendo Direct, we could just do one. And we could schedule it and people will attend it. And that is what it is.
I think
So-
it's not just it is definitely the control, like you were saying, but the other side of it is the other shift that's been happening at E3, which is primarily being a trade show. So you had people that were looking to purchase and going there and trying to figure out, like the Walmart, stuff like that. But then also like the actual journalists. And there was an understanding that, what they're showing is early and it's going to have problems. And it's no big deal if someone has to come in and like suddenly restart something because it crashed and stuff like that. Now E3, especially within the last 3 to 5 years, because 2017, I believe, was the first year where they started shifting away from only games industry people being allowed
Right.
in. But they've shifted a little bit slowly more and more to the public. Well, the public is a lot less forgiving if your demo suddenly crashes.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I think that control is very important there, because we're shifting away from the super early stuff to a lot more polished stuff because they have to, because the public's so much more visible to it.
Yeah, and that is true. So 2017 is when they actually, so they've done this in the past, I think once or twice, they let consumer, like regular people like me and you just attend. But in 2017, they decided to make that, just wide open. Anybody can attend. You buy a ticket, you can show up, which again has to do with a lot of the fact that this was not necessarily a trade show anymore because the companies are starting to back out. So Nintendo, like I said, wasn't attending anymore. 2019, Sony decided they're not going to attend anymore. They're going to start hosting their own state of play. And then you have other companies like Bethesda, was owned by ZeniMax at the time, now obviously owned by Microsoft, was having their own events, like a Bethesda showcase, where they would feature all of their games. And again, they can create their own content, they can do whatever they want, and spend as much time or not on each game that they want to release. And with the internet, you could just look at these websites, go to YouTube and pull it up and watch whatever's doing. So, Blizzard was another one, BlizzCon, which also now owned most likely by Microsoft. Not officially yet, but
Soon.
So all of that stuff was happening, and to the point where E3 isn't, well, for one, E3 isn't what it used to be, right? So again, it started off as a trade showcase for all of these different companies to be able to have a place to be able to dedicate for that. And then now, because of the way the internet was moving, is turning into more of an event for just normal people to come see new games and such. But of course, we're all very familiar with this little thing called COVID-19 that struck.
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's like this pandemic that happened in 2020.
Oh, it's not a video game?
No. Okay.
I was going to say, I haven't played that one.
I was wondering, I didn't even hear about the first 18 COVID games. So, for you to just spring 19 on me there, did I miss 18 other E3s? That's kind of wild.
You missed it. So, obviously in 2020, the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic kind of slaughtered any sort of in-person convention, expo, anything. I mean, the whole world basically stopped for the most part. So, because of that, E3 was canceled. And this is the first time they've ever canceled their event, which made sense. I mean, they were, like I said, they weren't the only one. We had a lot of different conventions that were canceled because of COVID. Yeah. So, 2021 rolls around, and what we saw we saw a couple of companies in 2020, which we covered before, was they decided to move to an online showcase, which PAX did that. They also, it was like Dragon Con tried it. I think, what was the other one? Comic Con, I think, did an online version. E3 talked about it, and then they said, we're just going to cancel. We're just going to wait till next year. We'll come back and, good. 2021 rolls around, and again, we have some conventions starting to kind of do things, and some still doing online. Actually, I think PAX did both. They were like, we're going to just do both. If you want to attend, you can do online, whatever you feel like, whatever your comfort level is. And E3 said,
but canceled PAX Australia? Isn't that right?
I think Australia was canceled both times.
Yeah.
I think so.
So in 2001, E3 decided they were going to air online, but E3 wasn't E3. It was actually the Electronic Entertainment Experience, since it was a virtual event. So they did that.
Technically still 3 E's.
Yeah, still 3 E's, just not the same E3 that we're familiar with. Well, again, 2022, they're saying, hey, we're coming back in 2022 full force. We're going to be there ready to go. And then we get the announcement earlier this year that E3 has been canceled. And we're like, well, that's strange and they're like, well, 2023, we're coming back full force. And we're like, well, that we've heard this story before, fool me once, shame on me, I guess you could say, or shame on you and however that goes. I'll have to learn that for my kid, I guess, eventually.
Or George W. Bush.
Or watch Star Trek.
Yeah, really. So this is kind of getting back to the point of why I brought this up. So E3 announced they were going to cancel in 2022. But what they announced in their press conference was that ReedPop, who is the management event coordination group that does PAX and also, what was the other one? Comic-Con, I think San Diego or something.
No, not San Diego.
Was it not San Diego?
Oh my God. Emerald Kitty. There's so many that they do. The oh my God was not directed at you. My apologies.
New York Comic Con. Sorry.
I was talking about the number here that I'm looking at. Emerald City Comic Con, Florida Super Con, Games Industry Biz. MCM Comic Con, Microsoft Festival, New York City Comic Con. All the PAXs.
So they handle a lot.
Chicago.
Wow, they're a monopoly, is what I'm hearing. All right, we gotta break that up.
That's the stuff they do overseas.
Bruno, you want to go in by a couple
So E3 announced that they are canceling 2022, but they're coming back in 2023 with ReedPop being the manager of the show. So why that's exciting, potentially, unless you're against monopolies, is the fact that they do handle all of these events for people, or in-person events for normal people like me and you to attend, with also industry people there as well. And they're very familiar with the space. So so it seems like...
Well, it is the specific space we're talking about is the space that E3's been trying to move into, which is a consumer space. Because E3 has been mostly trade show, and they can't get rid of that part because that's what the ESA is there for, at least part of it. But they've been having trouble with making this transition to the more consumer show, which is necessary because the trade show part of it, not all of it exists there anymore. So the ReedPop, which by the way is a small subsidiary of Reed in general, because Reed is huge in the convention space. And ReedPop just does the pop culture part of it. That they brought in who they see are going to be experts in trying to manage the show with more of a consumer space.
I never really paid any attention to E3 until 2014's No Man's Sky. That was honestly the first time I ever looked at E3.
Yep.
Ever.
Wow.
So that's the thing that's out there is the fact that ReedPop that ReedPop is taking over. That clearly states that ESA has decided that E3, the future of E3, is going to be a consumer event and not a trade show. And they know that they have to double down on that. And the way to do that, how they feel, is to go with ReedPop to let them manage it. So hopefully what we'll see in the future is something along the lines of like a PAX, where you have all these industry people, panels there. You have, you're there to buy games. You can check out new games. You can talk to developers and
line management. Like, no, seriously, like people who've been going to E3, they say, E3 again wasn't built for consumers, so they're not expecting 400-500 people all at once wanting to stand in line to play the game. So so line management's a huge part of this, because E3 didn't know how to do anything with that, and so it was a total mess. And it was like literally the industry people always talked about after 2017, 2018, that they'd have to do wide detours around. They wouldn't even go to the what we consider the main thing, which is the show floor. They'd just be like, no, we've got interviews to go to. We're going to bypass all this stuff.
Yep. So that is your E3 history of the day. Hopefully you learned a little bit. And if not, like I said, go watch those videos on YouTube. There is a lot of fun, strange things that have happened at E3 over the last, couple decades at this point. But on that note, take a few minutes, listen to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would like to say that that's the history. Just really quickly on the future, some words from ReedPop themselves. We're thrilled to bring back E3 as an in-person event with ReedPop. a global leader in producing pop culture events. One of the things that struck me was one of the quotes that I believe the the VP who is going to take this over said, "For years, we've listened, heard, and studied the global gaming community's feedback." I mean, they have. They've been doing this in many pop culture type conventions. E3 2023 will be recognizably epic, a return to form that honors what's always worked. And I think that's an important thing saying there, because if they try to make this PAX, I think it's just going to fail, because that there's already enough of that around, right?
PAX,
Yeah. I'm not saying I wouldn't go.
Listen, I would go to E3 given the chance, absolutely. But I think that understanding what has worked in the past and honoring that and being able to build in the future, because he says, while reshaping what didn't work and setting a new benchmark for video game expos in 2023 and beyond. So I think you've got some people that have their finger on the pulse of the gaming communities already. They know how to make a consumer show work, and they're not strangers to trade shows either, because they've got the Greater Reed Corporation to pull from for experience there. So I feel pretty confident here that we're going to see E3 in 2023 actually come back. Maybe it might be a little bit shaky to start with, but I'm confident that they're going to be able to pull this off, and we're going to have a successful show. And it's going to evolve as it has in the past, with magazines falling out, and then, having to, even the internet, game sites becoming less relevant as publishers can just broadcast right to our eyeballs, right? It's evolved before. I think with Reed Pop's assistance, they're going to be able to evolve again, and I think they're going to be successful again.
And on that note, listen to a word from our sponsor. And we're back. Is that good for you? Do you like that?
We are? I was not ready.
Almost threw up. Almost threw up.
Good.
Almost took my AirPod out and threw it down on the ground. Don't fucking come at me with this ASMR bullshit. Said it once, I'll say it 6 more times.
It made you feel
only 6. So if you do it 7 times, you are in the clear.
Kelly said.
Quick.
So now that I'm all hyped up on this game conversation, I want to talk about some games.
Ooh.
We played a game.
We did, actually, me and Brian both, which I totally didn't get you the footage that I told you I was going to give you. But
I've watched a lot of that game.
Yeah.
I honestly had fun playing that game.
I was not. I liked it. It was fun.
Ooh.
I honestly don't think I'd play it again anymore. Not because it's bad, just because it's not.
My fingers are pretty
tired. It's one of those
tired.
games.
Oh.
Well, it's one of those games.
I know how you feel, Mike. I know how you feel. Okay.
So
I don't get it. She's also played the game.
I need a drink and a cigarette.
Sorry.
I mean, she did watch us play the game.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So
Multiversus.
Must have been an amazing
and it wasn't
game.
on video. So
Multiversus. So we're talking about Multiversus, which is basically a brawler. Very much I'm not going to say clone, but a competitor of these Super Smash Bros. Type
Brawlhalla
or any of those
popular ones,
whatever. But the reason I say the Super Smash is like direct competitor is the fact that this game is made by Warner Brothers, and since Warner Brothers owns a lot of IP, anything from DC to whatever, they are able to bring in a bunch of characters from all types of different TV shows and such. So you have you have Bugs Bunny, you've got like Arya Stark from like Game of Thrones, you've got LeBron James because of Space Jam, You've got Finn and Jake from Adventure Time. I mean, there's all these random characters.
Steven and Garnet from Steven Universe. I mean, come on, the best characters.
Yeah. So they add all these characters together in the same format. The object is to get your teammates off the map basically 4 times to win the game.
Your opponent's off the map, not your teammates.
Your opponent's off, not your teammates. So the point is,
you guys must have done terribly.
Oh,
we did terrible.
Great.
Actually, we did pretty good. We did pretty good.
Yeah, you did well. You did well.
We did okay. But yeah, it was
we
definitely
won the majority of our games.
Yeah, definitely a cool experience. I haven't played I'm not going to say fighter because I'll trigger some people, but I haven't played any sort of fighting brawler game in a very long time. So the fact that I got to play this, it kind of threw me in that nostalgia state of just like being like a kid playing games with my cousins, because like we would just pass the controller back and forth and I'd foot sweep to death until they couldn't catch me, and then I would just keep winning. But no, that's kind of like how I felt playing this. But obviously, I'm an adult and it's a lot newer. There's a lot of different characters and such. So it was just fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of similarities between a brawler and a fighter, being that you have different move sets. There's a lot of depth in it with iframes when you do dodges, or even certain attacks. And there's a lot of things that you can learn and different variations. I mean, we played variations from attackers and glass cannons to playing control, and control, like Velma was a control character. She does not do a lot of damage, but she really can move other people around the screen a lot if you play it right, and she becomes devastating.
Cool.
But that's if you spend the time to, just like a fighter, to really learn the move sets and really learn just instinctually that when you see this happen, you're going to do this. And that's kind of why, like, I spent the weekend playing it and I had a blast and love the game. I think it moves well. It reacts well. It looks fantastic. I could see that this is probably going to be really big in the brawler space, but it's just not the thing that I'm going to sink time into. So I'm going to take my weekend of playing with Mike and having like 80% win rate and go out on top. I mean, as opposed to 6 months from now, somebody's. I will say, that's one of the things that me and Mike said, is that the matchmaking in it seems really spot on good. Like, it was really matching us up with people that were like, we didn't wipe the floor with them. We felt like we earned our victories. And when we got beat, we really felt like it was because, they were better than us. And it wasn't always like they won 2 out. Sometimes they won 2 of the rounds and they were substantially better than us. But most of the time it was like, oh, we won a round, they won a round, and then they won another round.
That's cool.
So the matchmaking was fantastic.
So right now there's about, I think, 12 characters. And they have, very similar to any other type of sports game at this point, is a battle pass. So battle pass is there. They have a free battle pass that you just level up and you gain things as you just keep playing. They also have a premium battle pass, which is something you can pay for, which is called Glimmerin, I think it is. Something like that. But it's like a gem that you can pay for. I think it was, I think you get 1,000 Glimmerin for like $8.99 or something like that. $9.99.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound like something that should be in this game. Glimmer and like
sounds like a drug.
Yeah.
It looks like a drug.
Oh,
it's this
I was gonna say
shape.
like maybe like in Fable. Oh, the Glimmerin. Oh, take this Glimmerin and go meet your partner.
So they have the ability to buy. You can basically buy all your characters straight out. Like if you want to do that, you can, or you can just earn gold from each match and then use your gold to unlock your characters as well. There, from what I saw, there wasn't any unlocking moves. So basically, it's all cosmetic based, which is good, especially in a fighter game like this, or a brawler game, excuse me, where you're, it's more about skill and learning the matchmaking, learning the also the synergy between teammates. Because that's another thing we didn't talk about was the synergy that you get between the different characters and also playing as a team. You can play free for all, but we played just team based is all we did. So 2v2. But there was, like some characters like I had for Finn, he was able to like high five his teammate. And if he did that, I would make them enraged so they could like attack better. Whereas if I hit one of the enemies, they would be, I think, slowed down or something like that. So there's different things like that going on.
I like LeBron's combos the best. With his ball, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I didn't get
Balls?
to. I
With his
saw
balls?
people play a little bit of them. But I
He
didn't really get to
has
play.
like he has his basketball, and like he charges it over time. He throws it, and then his teammate can catch the ball, and then throw it in another direction. If it collides with a person, he like dunks on the person, and sends them flying off the map.
Yeah, so
Which is a really
there's a
cool
lot of cool
mechanic.
things like that. The one thing that I do want to point out, though, is not to mention we had a good time, and I'd say for me personally, I could play for about an hour and then I'm kind of done because it just isn't my type of game. But like, and it's also kind of like I feel like exhausted after playing for like an hour because like we're just constantly just fighting the whole time. But the one thing the
It's
game
quick.
does,
Yeah.
the game does this very
Going
good.
from game
Oh
to game,
yeah.
it's very quick.
Is
So
it's quick.
even listening, I
but-
can hear Mike's controller.
Yeah. Well, the thing that they do in this game really well is the game loop, because when you finish playing, we kind of joked about it a few times. There's not enough time to like do anything else. Like you're immediately in the next match. Like you don't really feel like
Yeah.
you get to step back off the sidelines until
Wow.
like you really force yourself to quit playing. So they have it
Okay.
like you just keep playing and you're playing next match, playing and you're playing, and it's like and it's best. So if you play a match and you decide to rematch, it automatically throws you into best out of 3. And then once that best out of 3 is resolved, winner or loser, you automatically move on to the next opponents. Like you don't get to play those same people again, unless obviously matchmaking throws you in. But it's literally meant to like play it, move on, play it, move on. But it's so quick, like it just constantly throws you into a new loop. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know how if that'll be adjusted. I feel like it will, or maybe they'll add some mechanics to kind of like gear you back, because the whole thing.
I
with
think
the
they'll leave
lab-
it as is, to be totally
Yeah.
honest.
Because
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
if
they'll
you're trying
add-
to
Keeps you
learn a
playing.
character.
Yeah,
I'm really curious about how the competitive scene's going to flush out for it, because they're definitely targeting it. But one of the things that I've been talking about with a lot of my friends who play competitive Smash is the idea that the game is mostly focused on 2v2s.
Mhm.
They do have a very central focus on the idea of 2v2s and a balanced focus of 2v2s, which means that 1v1s inadvertently are going to suffer. There are some characters where you think about them as solo, you're like, they're not as good. Like LeBron
Like
throwing
Velma.
his ball, right? Like, if he doesn't have a teammate to capitalize on a lot of those, then like it kind of removes from his kit. And 2v2s are not as popular in Smash, in like the Smash universe, as 1v1s. It's not that they're not popular at all, it's just not as popular. So I'm curious to see how that flushes out. Will they actually make 2v2 something that's wildly successful, or will it kind of like be pigeonholed by that and inevitably flop?
Gleamia.
But the characters are
Selenium, even
awesome.
And looks like a
Premium.
drug.
Selenium.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I
That
think,
looks
I think,
like something I took in college.
I mean, to be honest, got a good point. Is by
I mean, I
default,
did
when
not
you
do
go
that,
in,
Mom and Dad. I don't know what you're
there
talking
is
about.
free for
It's
all,
hard.
obviously, and but they default. There's even 1 versus 1, but they default to 2v2, which is it's neat because the characters do have this balance where they work well together. But it also doesn't have some of the things that you see like in Brawlhalla and Super Smash Brothers, which you have 8 people on the screen at once going nuts.
yeah.
They also they didn't have like and this is very controversial in the Smash Bros side, which is Multiversus didn't have like that whole concept of these just items coming down that really randomize stuff. Like all of a sudden you got a ray gun that your character normally wouldn't have that ability, and you're wrecking havoc on people, which I kind of appreciate in like the being a non-competitive player in Smash Brothers. And I'm just there to like cause some chaos and have some fun. I appreciate that in Smash Brothers. And that's something that I don't see in Multiverses. But back to what Demiran was saying is that maybe that is to bring in more of that esports-ish competitive scene.
Yeah, I mean it's there are a few, like, so Bugs Bunny has the ability to throw down a box and randomly pull out an item, and that item's on the screen that anybody can use. But there's nothing from what I saw like very powerful. It was more just like
someone.
Yeah, like a projectile you throw and it's over. It's not
dangerous
really like a crazy thing.
Some of them are small
Anyway.
TVs.
It's an interesting game. I would say check it out. It's also free to play. So that's, like I said, that's one of the fun parts about those. Free to play on Steam, get an Epic or whatever store you want to get it from.
The net code is solid.
But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Check it out. For
Whoa.
Sure.
I had to check something about that game. One last note. I was thinking, and I was like, who owns Dexter's Lab? And it's also Warner Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
If they add Dexter's Lab, like
sure
Dexter
Guess
to it,
who's gonna play?
I'm going to play that so
Or
much
Dee Dee.
because Dexter cracks. They'd have to be a combo, and they'd be the most annoying characters if they're on the map with each other.
Yeah.
Because they do
Tom and
the characters
Jerry
do
are up
interact
there.
a lot. Tom and Jerry would also be up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
well,
Tom
actually-
and Jerry are annoying on there because they do split up.
One of the fun parts that I heard was when Shaggy was playing against a Batman, I would hear Batman go, "I really need to inspect his sandwiches," or something like that.
Oh, the quips are good.
Oh, man, so good.
That's
They're-
cute.
They're topical to who is being played at the time on both sides, and the quips are they're really good.
Oh,
So I played another game
Probably repetitive
actually
after a while.
yesterday for the first time in a while, right? I played a game called Road 96. Is available on Game Pass, so I checked it out because I'd never heard of it, and it was out. It said, you might like this game. I was like, okay, cool. So Road 96 is it's kind of like a story game where you follow a story of a girl who's trying to get to Road 96, which is the border of Patriot, or I think it is Patriot, something like that. That's what they called it. And the point is they're trying to get across the border because there's a lot of political things going on in the world, the world that she lives in, that they're basically trying to destroy like kids, like take them out and not let them vote and just change the world for how they want it.
I mean, maybe kids shouldn't vote though.
I mean, yeah. So, and I say kids like teenagers, but so the game is basically you following a story that you set out for yourself. So when the game starts, it actually asks you a few questions. It says like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? And you select out of like 2 or 3 answers what you decide. And it's like, by the way, this game's going to change and react to how you play. You're like, okay, cool. So you answer the few questions and then you kind of feel like you're kind of railroaded a little bit. But one of the interesting things is each like scenario that you get to, because the point is, like I said, you're trying to get to the end point from your location. It tells you like 1,500 miles away from the border or whatever. But each part that you get to, you have different scenarios that you meet these random people. You have the different scenarios of how you act towards that person or whatever. And then when you're done, you basically hit the road and you can decide, do you hitchhike? Do you buy a taxi? Do you decide to walk? So how do you want to get there? And depending on the money that you make in the game, because you may not have any money, that can kind of limit the abilities of like getting a taxi. So on what also happens is there's RNG involved. So every time you play the game, apparently, I've only played one through, but it changes every time you play. So just because I pick this character and answer these questions a certain way does not mean that it's going to end up the same way. Because much like real life, like if you hitchhike, you never know who's going to pick you up. So not to spoil the game a little bit, there's a character that's known to be a taxi driver, and you may or may not run across that person if you decide to get a taxi. So, but if you take a taxi, it costs money, but you can also get to sleep, so you get to recover your health a little bit. So I got all the way to the border on my playthrough and got caught. I got arrested at the border, and it was not fun because I thought I had it. I was like, I thought the game was gonna just push me through it. Like it seemed like there was gonna just make it happen. But no, I literally got caught at the border. They threw me back. So it was quite interesting. But again, that's the first playthrough. Apparently there's like 4 other characters I haven't even met yet. And there's like a whole nother, side of the story that I haven't even seen. So pretty neat game. I'd say check it out. It's definitely sort of railroady, but it has a decent story for you to kind of follow. So it doesn't feel like you're just doing everything they tell you to do. So it's pretty neat.
Ooh, it looks really good, and it got some pretty good awards, accolades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not awards, but accolades. That's cool. Well, I've been playing randomly. When I was a kid, I used to really love playing like grid logic puzzles. And so you get a story, excuse me, and it says, rental cars. It's like Sam has his rental car is less expensive than the Acura rental car. And you're like, well, yeah. And then it'll say, Tiffany, her rental car was available at 8 a.m. So you're supposed to determine who got a rental car at what time and what their rental car was. So I should pull it up. It's a grid. And if you like logic style puzzles, here, let's do grandkid's birthday. I don't know if you can see this. Logic style puzzles. And there's my ring light, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah. So you'll be able to determine, okay, well, so Sam's rental car isn't the most expensive rental car and it's under this other thing. Oh, well, then he got the Camry or whatever. You'll figure it out based on that. So my partner is a very aggressive driver and I needed to take my mind off of that driving a couple points over the last couple of weeks. And these logic games have really been helping me with that. But it's also like exercising your brain. So if you've got maybe an older family member who is just sitting around all day, these types of logic puzzles are like crosswords or other, simple puzzles that
Wordle?
help. What?
Wordle?
We're not going to
talk about Wordle
right yet. At least not yet. We're going to talk about Wordle again soon, but just not yet. So those types of games, in some of them are super easy and super quick. Others, I mean, the grid can expand and it's challenging, but for me, very gratifying when I finally figure it out. I'm like, wait, hold on. Wait, this, and this all connects, and now I've solved it. And they're like, great job. I'm like, I'm amazing.
But if you get stuck on the rental car one, is that gridlock?
It 100% is gridlock.
So
until you ask for a hint.
You'll like a board game.
Oh, no, wait, you can ask for a hint in that?
You can. Listen, if you need a hint, you can ask for a hint. I have not asked for hints, but if you need a hint.
But that's still cool that they offer that within, because I mean that I remember those logic puzzles all the time. The paper and pencil ones. That's
what I used to do.
Right, and I even remember doing a paper and pencil one at a team building event that we had at like a place that work put up. This was like 4 years ago now, but I mean, having an electronic one and doing it by yourself and having the ability to have a hint in it, that's pretty cool.
Yes, it's awesome. So if you are a novice at these types of games or really get stuck, sometimes getting a hint helps you to develop those new strategies. And you're like, wait a second. Yeah.
So you may like a board game. It's called 5 Minute Mysteries or 5 Minute Mystery. And it's kind of like a board game card game. I don't know how to explain. I think it's a board game, I guess. But the object of the game is to discover who is I think it's the killer. I think it's who the victim is or something. But each person has.
We don't know who the victim is. Somebody died. We don't know who died.
Each person has
not important.
a group of cards that have the suspects on it, and the way that you figure this out is by almost like a point in like a point game where you point and like find things in a puzzle, like a find puzzle game. I don't know what you call those things. Like a picture and you find things. Yeah, secret.
Hidden object game.
So you have these cards that have these different scenes on it, and you have a certain amount of. There's like 5 different symbols that are in each scene, but each symbol can have a variation to the symbol. So
Okay.
you find which ones those are, and then depending on the order, you have like a little. I'm gonna remember this too. I think it's a cryptograph, or what is it called? It's like a round
Cryptograph?
thing. It has the little knobs where you can twist it open, and like there's a puzzle inside. You don't talk about, not a puzzle, but there's like a note inside. It's like I don't know. But anyway, has one of
He's
those,
making up
and
shit
you
here.
line it up, and when you get that, you can line up a certain card to the main puzzle piece, and depending on if it lines up or not, will determine if it says like one side says like glasses, and if it lines up, then it means the suspect has glasses, or it means that the suspect does not have glasses. So everybody has suspect cards. You lay down the ones like almost like Guess Who. You lay down the ones that don't match until you get down to the final card that is the actual suspect. Now,
That sounds cool.
it's 5-minute mystery, which I don't know why they call it 5-minute mystery, because they give you 8 minutes, but there's an app that goes with it, and it counts down the whole time while you're playing. So you have to do this within a short amount of time, and you're like trying to like hurry up and find stuff. So anyway, I think you'd be interested in that. It kind of sounded like
I'll add that to my Amazon cart for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Anyway.
so Daydrinker on your game,
Mhm.
where can we find it and how much does it cost?
Amazon, and it was free. I'm sorry, not Amazon. I've been playing it on the Apple App Store. It's free, and the one I've been playing is literally called Logic Puzzles. But there are
There we
a
go.
plethora of them. There are some, you can add more puzzles and pay for stuff, but literally Logic Puzzles, and they've got cute little stories. The Jubilant Jugglers, or mobile apps, or rental parties unlimited, casting actors, like, so they've all got like a story and a couple lines, and depending on how big the puzzle is, more instruction. But it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly. I know you've been dying to do this, but take us to your corner.
Oh, so
I said Kelly's corner.
That's going to be
Not Mikey's
interesting
corner.
to note in. So I was telling the guys earlier today, this isn't necessarily Kelly's corner. It's like a callback corner, but Kelly's callback corner. I don't know what we're going to call
we done
this.
goofed. I already called this Kelly's corner now. I mean, don't,
Okay, well, we'll
don't,
put Kelly's
Done is
corner.
done.
That'll be fine.
I mean, wait, never mind. Hold on. Time is fluid. We've already covered
no.
this earlier.
Yeah, let's go back to beat.
We can go back.
137.
We can fix
Yes.
this.
How many beats can we go back?
Johnny is the
As
devil.
many
Johnny
beats
is
as
the
we
devil.
need to.
There you go. Do y'all remember the most amazing Netflix series that I am somehow still obsessed with, that Mike probably still needs to watch?
Stranger Things?
Oh no, he started that one actually.
I did.
I said the most amazing Netflix
Stranger
series.
Things. I don't know. Sorry.
Beaten by Squid Game. Remember Squid Game? And we
Yes.
played Crab Game. There's a whole
Yes.
game
Oh,
of the
yeah,
moment where we played that, or maybe it wasn't a game of the moment. We just all got online and
I think it
fucked
was.
around.
Anyway,
yeah, that was a blasty blast. What if I told you we could play Squid Games for real in person?
Wait, like an escape room, but Squid Game.
Yeah, sure. I'll go with.
I'm good. I don't really want to get shot and die. So
What if I told you?
Hey, listen,
or fall through
that'll
the
be fine,
floor.
because you'll get shot and die, and I'll be fine, because I'll stop when it goes red light. I'll stop.
Stop.
I don't. I'm not like these other drivers around the southern state that run red lights.
What if I told you we could play without dying?
I'm less
I mean,
interested
not
now.
as much fun.
What if I?
Mike's life's not on the line, what are we doing here?
yeah,
I
true.
mean, true story.
How is this game supposed to elicit any emotion out of me if there's not real consequences?
Okay, well, I guess there kind of are some consequences.
Okay, I
No,
guess
it
we're
still
focusing
sounds
on.
like fun.
I think we're focusing on the negative. Do we still win millions and billions of dollars?
No, and those weren't dollars in that game anyway.
You're
Oh,
you're
whatever.
kind of jumping ahead. You're kind of jumping ahead. So there is a company
Tell me
called
more.
Immersive Gamebox who is partnered with Netflix, and they've actually developed an in-person Squid Game. Guess where you can play this game?
In a
It's
state
in
that we live
person.
in.
Not Atlanta. Fucking not Atlanta. It's bullshit. You can play it in Manhattan, Denver, Dallas, San Antonio, the Woodlands. You didn't know where that was? It's in Texas. Salt Lake City, Arlington,
Woodlands.
Virginia, and I think they just picked this one because they like the name Rancho Cucamonga, California. And then 4 other locations in the UK. So
I think they filmed porn there. Raunchy Cucamonga.
That's what
I'm
it sounds
sure
like.
they do.
They gave it to
Oh.
Arlington, Virginia, but not Atlanta.
That's what I said. I did a
smell
little
road
more
trip.
research. 2023, there will be an immersive game box location in Atlanta, so hopefully we can play it next year.
Oh, so we get to wait till 2023. We should do another Squid Games. There's no prize other than life, and all the people who decided those locations have to compete.
Oh, sorry. No,
It's only fair.
No, I'm laughing so hard. I'm crying. Well,
I'll play with them.
Yeah, this company, Immersive Game Box, also helped partner to create a life-size Angry Birds in their other immersive game studios. So I think there's hope for us.
How did they get the large cardinals and stuff? How did they do that?
Yeah, I was about to ask, are those mutated breeds?
Yeah, so it's an immersive game experience. They use things like touchpads and just general sensory. You're in a room with 4 walls because most rooms have them, and you can see what's happening on all the walls. You turn around, what's ever gone over your head is there too, and they do all the games. So red light, green light. Did y'all actually watch it? I thought, Brian, you watched it, right?
I
Okay.
finished it. Yeah.
You finished it too, Bruno?
Yeah, we've all watched it.
Okay, good. Okay.
God, what do you think we live under a rock?
I want
You
to see how
just
they
now
recreate the
started
Clash planes.
Stranger Things. Okay.
I didn't like Stranger Things initially.
Initially.
Yeah.
I don't
Now
know
you've
if I still like
developed the taste for it.
it.
Somebody
Maybe.
already did this,
Right.
right? Just to be clear, someone recreated Squid Games, plastic planes, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, but that yeah. So
And the winner got millions of dollars.
I'm never
Jesus
doing
Christ.
a Kelly's Corner
No,
with Bruno
no, I love
ever
this.
again.
I did not know about this. I think
Kelly's
this is so
Corner.
cool.
I was just bringing up that somebody else had done it
So
one time.
it's a little bit different. So red light, green light, it's like the 3D motion tracking, and you're avoiding different things, and it's tracking everything you're doing. So you've got little cameras and stuff on your head with a headband.
Little mocap
So
dots.
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what they used to kill you?
Suit. Yeah.
Shocks
So-
you when you lose?
Yeah.
You don't actually die. You do lose virtual lives or get money added to your virtual piggy bank. So the Dalgona, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. The carving the shapes out of stuff. Tug of war. I mean, that's self-explanatory, except again, you don't actually die. Marbles, which is I think the most boring part of the show, with the exception of the one thing that I will not reveal because maybe somebody hasn't seen it. The glass bridge is actually, they've converted to a puzzle game.
Lame.
Wah, wah. But
So this virtual money.
uh,
If
it's
you tell
really
me
just virtual
we
money.
we can buy NFTs with it, I'm gonna flip.
In the metaverse landscape.
No, no.
Landscape?
This is a game you play with between 2 and 6 people in a group. Just you guys. And no, you pay to play this game. You don't get any money from this game.
This doesn't sound like Squid Games at
I'm
all.
down. I'm in. I
Listen,
love this
I'm
idea.
still. Listen, if I had to pay for you, Mike, you're playing this game.
There's only one movie/series transition to real life game that I'd probably want to play more than Squid Games, and that's Cube.
I have not seen that yet.
There's Cube, Cube 2 Hypercube, and Cube 0. And it was kind of Squid Games before Squid Games.
Okay.
People woke up and had amnesia and don't know how they ended up in this square room. And they had connections on all 6 sides to other rooms. And there would be booby traps and weird things happening in some of those other rooms.
Oh my God.
Oh, it sounds like a YouTube series too. I don't think they ever finished it. It was called the... I'll have to think about it now. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, it's like a bunch of kids and they basically wake up in these white walled rooms and they all think that they're just doing nothing. And then they all start finding out like each room has a purpose. And then
that sounds like a remake of Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so homework, go and watch at least one of those movies. If only we knew someone that had the ability to.
In case you don't know this, Kelly, the reason I mention is this guy, Mr. Beast, did recreate Squid Games for a prize of $500,000 to the winner of Squid Games. And he recreated the glass bridge, except when you fell, there was a net to catch you underneath. But it was like a suspended bridge with the same process. And when you jumped on it, there was a chance that you just fall through to your death. It was amazing.
That's because Mr. Beast has more money than he knows what to do with right now. Didn't he just cross how many million subscribers?
I have no idea, but that guy's wild.
Oh, Mr. Beast. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about now. No.
100 million. He just crossed 100 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm. He literally has said he doesn't know what to do with his money. Like he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he started this idea of just getting big corporations to give him money for these sponsorships, and he would just give it away to people. Yeah. And now he just, I don't know, he just makes so much money and does he literally just gives money away. I saw him the other day on TikTok giving a Lamborghini away to somebody for like, I think they had to break open a cinder block or something first, and they were like, "Oh, Lamborghini's yours! Congratulations!" I guess.
Okay. I don't.
Well,
I'm not. Y'all have interrupted. So knock it off, Mike. Knock the fuck off. You calm down for a second.
I didn't realize we were still going.
I'm still not done. So
I'll let you finish.
Thanks. The very last game is the Squid Game. I'm gonna let you finish. The very last game is the Squid Game. Okay, still don't know how to play that, so I'm gonna have to do some research. Watch the whole show. Still don't understand the whole rules of Squid Game. No, I didn't. I was paying attention to reading the words, and I don't know. I can't explain it right now. But Bruno, Netflix will be filming a reality game show called Squid Game: The Challenge, where there will be 456 players playing to win $4.65 million. So if you are in the Atlanta area and you really want to play this game, there will be an immersive game box location in Alpharetta, Atlantic Station, Buckhead, in Midtown. We have our choices, friends. And that
game show sounds like Wipeout on steroids.
Yes, it does. Basically. Yes, it does.
Multiplayer Wipeout. Instead of sending them one at a time, it's just like everybody swarms it at once, and half the playing field just got knocked out.
It's gonna be Fall Guys situation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there we go. Real life Fall Guys.
Sure.
That's the way to end this.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, that's what got our attention this week. If you liked this video, make sure to click the like button or click the subscribe, click the bell if you want to see new videos when they do pop up. We also have Patreon. I mean, let them figure that out. They can watch, without subtitles. It's fine. Captions, whatever. So we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/SASS Gaming. We really appreciate anybody that wants to help us out, get some new content out for you. There's a couple different levels, $2 and $5, whichever you want us to. If you don't, that's fine. Totally cool. Anyway, until next time, we really love you guys, and we will see you guys around soon. Y'all take care. Cheers.
Deuces.